Hi everyone, it's John Morley and welcome once again to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in to Positive Vibrational Waves. And if you're noticing my shirt here today, it's because at night I go to my gym. And so if you catch me recording at night, you'll always know because I usually have one of my workout shirts on and just got back from the gym and feel really good and very refreshed. But tonight, what I want to talk to you about is more about goal setting. And tonight, what I want to get across to everyone is that the goal that you think that you want may not actually be the goal that really is the goal you want. So, what do I mean by that? Tonight, I'm going to keep this pretty brief, but what I want to say is that a lot of times, we're not clear about what goals we want. So, what I recommend doing is taking a piece of paper and taking the goal that you want, start with just one, and just draw a circle around it. And then what you'll do is you'll just draw lines all around that and just free associate to the word. For example, if it's abundance, so that you can kind of depict exactly what you want. So a lot of times when you think of a goal and you say, okay, I want abundance. Well, that's great. The universe needs to know how much abundance, what kind of abundance. You need to be specific about your goal. And that's really important so that you can understand, and also being specific not only about the goal, but just a couple specifics about what you're going to do with it when you achieve this goal. Why is it that you want to achieve the goal? And one great way to get feelings with goals is to think about how this goal is going to impact someone else in your life. Maybe it's your family, your friends, or significant other. And that's a great way for you to put real meaning into a goal. Now, remember when I talked to you about having a goal and saying that you need to have these rituals every day, such as like I told you about the ABCs, the thank you, the gratitude of the ABCs is a great way in the beginning of the day when you either take off your watch or you have a rock in your pocket or crystals like I do, and same thing at night. Or you could do it when you take a shower in the morning or take a shower at night. The whole important thing is that you actually do it twice a day. That's the most important thing. So if you're doing it twice a day, then you're going to definitely be in good shape. But what I want you to understand is that just because you think about a goal, it doesn't just happen. You have to really experience what is it going to be like to achieve that particular goal. Okay? So when we think about that particular goal, I'm talking about the specifics. How is it going to happen? Now, maybe you don't know all the how, and that's perfectly fine. The universe can do the how. But you need to figure out what it is you want in the goal. For example, I want to be making X dollars a day. I want to be clearing X dollars a year after taxes. I want to be able to have a relationship that blah, 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 that someone that appreciates me, someone that not only, let's say, appreciates me, but someone that is going to complement the things that I do, and someone that is going to let me learn from them so that I can complement their life. A while back, you might have heard the phrase, people say, that a person completes them. And I'm not trying to give you rain on your parade here, but the important thing is that a person doesn't complete someone. It complements the other person. No one can complete another person. Everyone is their own individualistic person and lives their own life. And the only one that can make himself or herself happy and has that right is themselves. Now, other people can contribute to it, but what I don't want you to do is allow someone else to be the toggle of your happiness. Yes, they can contribute to it, but you have to be the one that brings your joy into your life. You have to be the one that you're happy with. When no one's around and you go and either read a book or you do a puzzle or you do some activities, you have to enjoy being your best friend to yourself. And if you can't be your best friend, no one's going to want to be your friend. You have to love yourself. You have to enjoy yourself. You have to realize that everyone has flaws. And you have to love all of your flaws and realize that someone else that you're going to be with, whether it's a friend, significant other, the person that's going to spend the rest of your life with, they're going to accept you for you. And I think sometimes, whether it's a relationship, we get so hung up on the fact that, we have to be perfect. And we don't need to be perfect. Now, that doesn't mean that, you don't want to be a perfectionist, which a lot of times when I do things, especially being an engineer, I like everything to be perfect. Now, that's different, okay? But there are things in life you just can't be perfect. Everything can't be perfect, okay? No one is 100% perfect. And if we think we're perfect, then we're really giving ourselves a delusion. Now, I think the important thing that we need to understand about relationships, because that's really what we're talking about tonight, is relationships in the sense that there'll be people out there that are going to appear to want to be your greatest friend. The challenge is, are these fair weather friends? Now, what's a fair weather friend? You have your friends, you have your acquaintances, and then you have your really close friends, right? Your real close circle of friends. So a friend that's a fair weather friend basically only comes around when it's convenient for him or her. They come around when they need you. But when you need them, they're always busy, or what I like to say is selectively busy. So how do you deal with this? How do you deal with the fact that some people are going to play you? It can seem a little daunting, but a tactic that works really well is you just have to not get frustrated on that particular fact that someone is playing you. When someone's playing you or someone is using you, one thing you could do is give them their own medicine back. I'll give you an example. There's a friend of yours, let's say, that's a carpenter, and you know that you need them to do carpentry work for you. Great. Let's say you're a great plumber, and they feel they can trade off work with each other. What happens most of the time in a lot of these relationships is that one winds up doing more than the other, and the other one feels neglected, feels a little bit abused, feels like they're taken advantage of, and they really are. Because what happens is the one person becomes selfish and does what they want for them, but then when the other person needs them to help them with their plumbing, let's say their carpentry project, when the other person needs plumbing, they're always there to help them. But when now the other person needs carpentry, it's like they're always busy. They're giving excuses. I'm jammed up. I'm with a client. I'm going on vacation. All these excuses, right? And, everyone has a right to have excuses. I'm not here to demean people's excuses. But what I am here to tell you is that how you react to something is how it's going to affect the situation and how that person's going to respond in kind to you. Never be nasty. But let's just say, for example, the person is not available for you when, you've helped them with their plumbing and several times, and now you need something. So you ask them to help you with building some stairs or whatever it is, or building a shelf in your home or something. And you need this done, but maybe you're having a party and you need this shelf done because you need to put all this food somewhere, like in the basement, and you need a place to put this stuff. And whenever you really need something, they don't come through. So you say to them, Gee, I really need your help. Oh, gee, man, I'm really jammed up. I can't help you right now. I'm really busy with work, or, then I'm going on vacation and, I'm just so swamped. And okay, I get it. So when you have a chance, give me a call back, right? Week goes by, 2 weeks away. They don't call you back. Maybe you call them back one more time. You say, hey, Mike, Jim, Bob, or I really need you to build that shelf. I was just wondering, when do you think you could do it for me? Oh, I just got back from my trip and I need some time. I can't even think right now. I've got so much work that I don't even know what to do and where to start. I've just got my head all over the place. So, okay, can you call me in a few days? Yeah, I'll call you in a few days. So you don't call that person anymore. So you're getting a little bit unhappy that they didn't help you. But now the next time that that person actually asks you for plumbing, you turn around, you being the kind-hearted person that you are, always saying, yes, I'll always help you and this and that. But now when they turn around and ask you for plumbing, or they need let's just say a drain unclogged, or they need a sinkerator installed, and sinkerator, you basically go to them, not nasty or anything, not even saying anything about what I'm telling you, just saying, "Oh, Mike, I'm really jammed up this week. I'm just so swamped right now. Let me get back to you." A week goes by, they get back, they call you again. Can you help me? I really like to help you. I just don't have the time right now. And that's it. And you may have to do this one or two more times, and eventually guess what's going to happen. They're going to become a little frustrated. Well, gee, gee, Mike, can't you help me? I really need your help. And now they're going to try to placate you to get you to do it. I really would like to help you. I really want to. I'm trying to deal with some things myself right now, and I'm swamped. And frankly, I need to deal with my paying clients first. Okay, so you're not being nasty. You're standing up for yourself. And I think that's really important. The other person's going to probably get a little bit offended and now realize that they can't do what they wanted, which was to get you to help them. And what they were doing to you, one of two things are going to happen. A, the next time you call them for help, first of all, they may now be unavailable. Or the next thing they might say is, gee, I know you needed the shelf built. I'm happy to help you with that. I just been really crazy. How about I help you put that shelf together, and then maybe you can help me with the plumbing after that. And that's a way. But most people aren't gonna save face like that. They're gonna play the little dodge game, and that's the game that I'm not at fault. I've done nothing wrong, and they're just not gonna fess up, because that's just how a lot of people are. I'm not saying I agree with that. But that's something that has taken me many, many years to understand and realize, is that there are a lot of people in our world, unfortunately, that are users. They will say things to you to your face. And then while not being at your face, behind your back, they'll say something else because either A, they don't have a backbone, B, they're basically a user, or C, they are really just a manipulator. And I feel badly in talking about this, but I think it's important because so many people fall into this trap, myself included. And I have only learned about this just recently, after being alive for many years, that you want to trust everybody, and everybody seems great, and you can still be nice to people, but there is a fine line between being nice and being taken advantage of. I'll give you another example. I had somebody, I'm not going to put the names in because that's definitely not good to do, but I had someone else that wanted me to help them, basically use me as a reference for a job. So, okay, not a big deal. But now this person, I thought about this. I was going to help them, but every time I need something, they're always calling me when they need something. But when I want to talk, or when I need something, oh, John, I'm busy. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Oh, I'm just so swamped. Oh, yeah. And their time is always busy. But when it comes time for them, then, they'll call me. So now I just don't fall over these people. There are people that are driven for a couple of reasons. One, people are driven because they have a purpose in life and they want to help others. That's my purpose. A lot of people out there, though, have an ego. And the ego is that they want to do everything for themselves and they don't want to help other people. These are selfish people. And again, I feel badly to point this out, but I think it's important because, when you get the good guy syndrome and you treat everyone so nice like I did, you have to kind of wake up and smell the coffee. Even though I don't drink coffee, I drink decaf tea. You have to wake up and smell the coffee, because, these people are going to keep doing this over and over to you. So what did I do? Before I actually decided not to help this person, I went through a recollection in my mind. You could do the same thing. Get a pen, get a pad, and basically take two sides, positives and negatives. And you can say, gee, what are all the things that are positive about this person? What are all the things that are negative about this person? Maybe you'll talk about all the times they helped you, all the times they didn't help you, and you can go back and you can review like a little bit of a mini, kind of like an account reconciliation of your friendship and in all the years you've known the person. And if there's just one occurrence where this happens once, it's not a big deal. But if you're seeing a pattern, and you see, the thing with me is that I didn't recognize the pattern. I just recognized that, hey, they're busy. But what I didn't realize is that they weren't really busy. They were busy because busy to them was doing something else that wasn't helping me. So it wasn't actually busy in the sense that they were really busy, like busy with work. They were just kind of, I don't want to say made up busy, but they basically made themselves busy. So I decided I'm going to do the same thing. And again, it's not being rude. It's not being nasty. It's just standing up for yourself. And I think that's something we're going to learn a lot throughout my channel, is that when you are positive and when you approach a situation with a positive vibe, and you actually have an intent to help people, I think you'll notice that a lot of the people will either A, disappear out of your life when they start trying to abuse or use you, okay? Or they're going to change their ways. Unfortunately, most of the people are going to drop out of your life. I'm sorry to say that, but it happens, and there's a reason for it. And it happens because how do I say this easily? The aptitude in their brain and the cognition of being wrong and apologizing is something he or she is not willing to do. So what they do is they save face and they lie, they disappear from your life, they say they're too busy, they never have time to see you, but they put the blame on the fact that, they don't want to be friends anymore, or whatever it is. I'm just giving you an example. And so what happens is when somebody does this, they realize they're wrong, but they're embarrassed. And they don't really want to be called on the carpet. Now, we're not here to call people on the carpet, but I think the only way that I would go back and help this, let's say, fictitious carpenter, is if he actually came back or she came back and apologized to me and said, hey, John, I've been really busy. I know you needed some help with those shelves, and I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. So what I'm going to do, let me build the shelves for you, and let me just take care of that. And if you have time down the road and you want to help me with the plumbing, that'd be great. If not, I understand. And you see, this is the kind of thing you have to realize and understand, is that sometimes in a friendship or relationship, one person puts too much into it. And the symbioticness of it, it becomes out of balance. And when it's out of balance, what happens when a scale goes out of balance? Well, it's very simple. The scale basically goes all the way down, right? So if you have too much on the scale, it will just basically drop all the way down. If the scale is balanced, there's an equal give and an equal take. Think of it like this, ladies and gentlemen. If you have a bank account, there's debits and there's credits. And I'm not going to get into the technical because I know I'll lose some people. But let's just say, for example, you have $100 in your bank account. And let's just say you remove $50 from your bank account, right? And let's say you remove $50 from your bank account, and then you have $50 left. If you keep removing withdrawals, right? What's going to happen if you remove another $50? You're going to be at zero. What's going to happen if you withdraw again? You're going to be at negative 50. You withdraw again, you're going to be at negative 100. So why am I saying this? Well, your checking account has to have an equal set of, we call it credits and debits, but it has to be in balance, okay? So what you take out, you obviously want to have a balance in your account so that if the account gets, if you have too many, you can always have more deposits in a business account, obviously. If you don't have enough, if you don't have, you do have to have deductions. If you have too many deductions, then it's one-sided. In a relationship, if you have too many, let's think of it in karma, that if you have too many withdrawals, which are, it's like your emotional bank account. And Stephen Covey actually refers to this, and it's an amazing thing. He refers to our lives as an emotional bank account, an EBA. So when you take credits and debits, so if you take too much out of a relationship and you don't put significant deposits back in, that account is going to go negative. If you put too many deposits in, what's going to happen? Well, when you put deposits in, remember, you're always taking it out of another account. So there's always two accounts. So you have to have some type of balance. And if you take too much out of one, then someone's going to be depleted, right? And if we don't care about who's depleted, then we're being selfish. And in terms of relationship, it's really important to understand that for anything you do that is positive, you are making a deposit to your EBA, emotional bank account. If you do something positive to someone else does something positive, that's a positive deposit to their emotional bank account. They ask you for a favor, that's a withdrawal from the emotional bank account. So whose account? I know this gets a little confusing, but let's just say the plumber has an EBA, being myself, and let's say, and I'm not a plumber, but I'm just making that up for argument's sake here, and the other person's a carpenter, has an EBA. So if the carpenter, let's just say, asks me to do his plumbing, he is making a withdrawal, okay, from the emotional bank account, okay? So the emotional bank account, which is what's keeping our relationship together. Now, whose side does it come out of? Does it come out of my side or does it come out of his side? Well, that's a very good question. So when he requests something, it actually comes out of my side, my bank account. It comes out, it's an emotional, I'm making, so he's getting a deposit, but he's taking it away from me, okay? And if I'm giving him something, then I'm basically going to be, it'll be the difference. So if I'm doing work for him, I am basically making a deposit and he's taking it out of my bank account, emotional. And if he's doing something for me, he is then taking out of his and putting it to mine. If there's too much on one side, then it becomes this, I'm always doing favors for people and there isn't a balance. So I know this gets a little bit crazy, but I thought it was really important because I've been noticing this for many years and I've only just started to become aware of the fact of, I don't want to say how people use people because that's not really a good word, but how people, let's just say, get people to do what they want them to do. And unfortunately, either directly or indirectly, don't really have the intention of wanting to pay that back. It's like borrowing money from somebody and then you know in your heart that you're never going to pay them back. So that's kind of how this works. I hope this is useful to you. So how do you implement this in life? It's real simple. If someone is abusing you, and again, I'm talking about abuse, quote unquote, they're using you. You're always being asked to do something. This happens a lot on boards. It can happen on condo associations. It can happen on school boards, PTA boards. It can happen a lot of different things, charities. And what do I mean? Well, so you do something for the betterment of the community or the group, and there's always people that are always trying to get a one-up. They're not happy because maybe you're getting a little limelight, but meanwhile, you didn't do it for the limelight. You did it for the betterment of the group. but someone else always sees it that they're not getting the full limelight. This happens a lot in politics. And I think it's a challenge because a lot of people in the world, they don't want to cause ruffled feathers. And as much as I don't want to cause a disruption to a situation, I would rather do that as politely as I can and not be abused. Because when I get abused and used, it actually takes away from my energy. And that's energy that I could be using for myself, for family, for friends, to do other things. So you have to realize that if you had a battery and you have a flashlight and you turn that flashlight on, it doesn't matter whether you're using it in daylight or you're using it at nighttime. The best use of that flashlight is to be used at nighttime. But if you use the flashlight in the daytime, it still burns the same amount of energy for the battery, right? Same concept. So we have to be understanding of how this all works. And I think if we just maybe keep a little bit of mental note, or you can get a little pad and say, gee, not that you're tracking every little thing somebody does, but you just want to realize that if you feel like you're starting to be taken advantage of, or that person's never around for you, or it just seems like it's a one-way street, it probably is. But before you jump to any conclusions, just write things down on paper, like I told you, the plus and minuses. And you'll start to be able to get a very objective look of, what the person is doing. There are people that do this for a living, and they don't care because they're just manipulators. And I want you to be able to understand this so that when somebody does this to you or somebody tries to placate you, they're doing it for their own best interest. Unfortunately, they're not doing it for your interest or my interest. They're doing it for themselves. They're being selfish. So just be cognizant of what's going on with other people. Again, being respectful, I'm not saying to yell at other people. I'm just saying that you need to be alert to what's going on. Kind of like a heightened awareness. So now when they do this nonsense again, you can call them on the carpet, but in a polite way, like not saying, hey, you did this last night. No, you don't do that. You just become busy or you're just unavailable because the chances are that the person is not even going to want to talk to you about it. They're going to deny it. Denial. That's what they're going to do. They're going to deny it. And they're going to blame it on you, saying you're too sensitive. So don't even waste your energy to try to talk to them about it. Unless they've come to you and they apologize or something like that. That's a different story. But I think you have to understand that if people out there are going to use you, then you need to be smart enough to figure out when it's time to distance yourself from the situation. Remember I said a few days ago that when people you're around cause you to lose your energy and you're starting to feel drained, well, this is a perfect example. When somebody's abusing you, you'll feel drained. Somebody humiliates you, you'll feel drained. If somebody uses you, you'll feel drained. If somebody insults you, you'll feel drained. Even if you don't want to feel that way, you may still feel that way because it's a shock to your system. So the next time someone, either friend or a close friend or acquaintance, asks you to do something, just ask yourself, when was the last time, they asked me? And when was the last time I did something for them? Or when was the last time they did something for me? So they ask you to help them out. When was the last time they asked you for help? And when was the last time they helped you? And if you can't answer a question like, they're always asking me every week, well, then that person's a habitual user. And I know a lot of times we don't like to stereotype, but I'm here to tell you that no one is going to defend your case. So you need to stand up for you. You need to take care of you yourself because no one else will. And again, it's not a tantrum. It's not a fighting match. It's just a situation where you're going to remove yourself from the situation. So let's go through one other little case. So maybe you're in a group and maybe you're not feeling positive about what they're saying, or maybe they want you to do something. You're not feeling comfortable. So one thing you can do is you can just walk away from the group. But maybe you want to be a little more polite and say, okay, I understand that's the way you feel, and you have a right to feel that way. And at the same time, I do not agree with that and do not wish to participate in that. So I'm going to leave for now. And if you decide to do something else, reach out to me. And that's all. And when you do something like that, you are letting someone else know that you have the decision. You're not saying anything against them. You're just saying this is something you don't agree with. It doesn't say you don't like the person. Okay? It just says you don't want to be part of that activity, or you don't believe in what's going on right now. And that's fine. Now, if they retaliate and say, oh, you're this, you're that, well, then it's time to say, I understand, again, that you want me to do this, or you want me to be part of this. And frankly, I'm starting to feel uncomfortable, and I really don't want to hang out with you anymore, or I really don't want to help you anymore. And that's fine. You see, when somebody puts pressure to you, you don't need to put pressure to them. You just simply end the relationship, or you end, let's say, the meeting. If this is the first time it happened, you might end the meeting and say, I'm done today. I had enough. I'm leaving. And then if they do it again, say, look, you remember what happened last week? Yes. Okay, well, when there's something you guys do and I don't want to be part of that, I'm going to tell you I don't want to be part of it. If you still force me to be part of that situation, then I'm going to politely leave. And if this happens again, then I'm just going to stop being your friend. And I think people have to realize that you have a lot more power than people think you have. It's just how you execute it. You don't yell, you don't scream, and you never tell somebody that, you're wrong or they're wrong. Everyone has a right to their own opinions, their own beliefs. If somebody wants to tell you the sky is pink, that's fine. That's their opinion, okay? And everyone has those opinions. So there's nothing wrong with opinions. It's just when somebody makes you accept an opinion, or tries to make you accept an opinion that you don't agree with, well, then there's the problem. So we have two things that can happen. One, we have people that can use you, even though they may seem like the nicest people on earth. They'll buy you dinner, and supposedly that's going to be payment for what you did. That's another story. And the second thing is, I call it going with the crowd. Fitting in with the crowd is not something that just happened in high school or college or when you were in grammar school. It happens throughout your whole life. It happens a lot, believe it or not, in work. People want you to do something. And in work, sometimes you may not agree with something the boss says to do, but you need to do it. Now, that's a different situation. As long as what they're asking you to do doesn't go against your morals or whatever you're doing, that's fine. But you can disagree with something, but if a boss is telling you to do something, that's a different situation, okay? But if you have friends or you have social situations and you just feel that people are not respecting you, that's the best way to say it. And then the other one would be that you feel that people are just constantly calling you or asking you to help. Another one is people invite you to a party. You're not friends with them, but they invite you to a party just because they know you're going to give an expensive gift. Now, that's wrong, okay? So these are things that kind of happen. And unfortunately, because these people are so nice, nobody ever wants to call them on the carpet. Nobody ever wants to say anything about these people because they seem so nice, so wonderful. They never want to, push the envelope. They never want to upset the apple cart. They just want to go with the flow. And they say they never get angry. And that's all fine. But in the sense, what you're missing is that these people are very intelligent. They're actually manipulating you. And remember I said something before about success. So success is an amazing thing, and there are many definitions of it, but the thing I told you about success from our very first day is that success is one's right and privilege to become who he or she wants to be and do and achieve without affecting or harming the rights and privileges of others. That's it. So, again, that doesn't have to do with competitiveness, it just has to deal with respect. So, I hope today was an important lesson for all of you. And I know it wasn't a hypnosis session, but I thought this was important to talk about this because I have had this epiphany a couple times in my life, but it never really clicked until maybe a couple days ago. And I said, this is something I want to share with my YouTube friends because I know there's people out there that unfortunately they're getting scapegoated. So I know this went a little bit over and I'm sorry about that, but I do ask you to subscribe at the bottom there by clicking on the little subscribe button and also the bell notification icon, and you'll find out as soon as I release new content. I hope you're enjoying positive vibrational waves. I hope all your days, all your nights, all your minutes, all your seconds, and all your years are filled with the positivity, relaxation, creativity, the desires, the motivations, and the belief that you can do anything you can put your mind to through visualization. Our next session tomorrow, we're actually going to go through a very detailed visualization session. And we're going to go through, one will be about relaxation. And in the relaxation, we're going to go through a progressive body relaxation, which has been around for years. And then we're going to go through a very detailed visualization. And I'm actually going to start having you visualize different pieces of fruit. And I'm going to show you how fruit and senses can actually be tied into your subconscious and how things happen that you don't realize because our subconscious actually fires muscles in our body when we're practicing a sport or whatever it is because the subconscious doesn't know that we're not actually doing it. All right. Again, my name is John Morley, and I really want to thank you for tuning in to Positive Vibrational Waves, and I hope that my channel makes an impact in making your life just a little bit better. Have a great night.